Right, it's a hot summer's day here in Queensland, and this, I would say, is probably going to be episode 53 of our Missle Industries 351 Ford Falcon project. And as you can see through the passenger door of this car, I have stripped out the front seats and the auto transmission hump there, and taken the gauges off the front of the transmission hump, peeled the carpet back, so I can get on with this console project. So this will be episode 1 of the console project. The goal for this project is to get the center console mounted and have the B&M Pro-ratchet shifter higher, further into the cabin, i.e. closer to my seat and closer to the driver's side of the cabin as well. See, the shifter's down here, currently sitting in neutral, and all the bits and bobs are in the tray underneath the dash, underneath the glove box there. So everything going to plan. I'll have my console in, my shifter mounted in a more ergonomically favourable position, and my gauge is mounted onto the console, hopefully. Oh, and somewhere else with my fire extinguisher too, because obviously that's got to go somewhere else now too. So as you can see, I've mocked up some brackets out of some galvanised sheet and bolted it all in. I'm reasonably satisfied with the position of that. And I think up the front here I'm going to fold up some checker plate to cover in the selector, because obviously this big bulky thing here is going to stick up out of this console. And I'll put some checker plate around there and attempt to put the dials into that. Just finish that end off, try to do something with it to integrate it all together. Right, brackets are made up, brackets are installed. I've done a dummy run to fit this console onto these brackets to see if it all works out. I snapped one of the bolts off by accident, so that's actually acting as a guide pin to get my console reinstalled, so it's not the end of the world. Unfortunately, using this bar instead of this folded sheet metal means that it took a lot more effort to get those bolts to go in. I had to make the holes bigger too, but that's alright. It's sorted out now. I need to figure out a way to mount the console and start positioning my shifter with regards to where the console sits amongst all of this. I have to cut the console up a bit more to get this all to work out. It'll be worthwhile in the end. Let's just take a moment to appreciate how good these floors are, at least the sections that I can see. So pristine. It's like this car's lived in a garage all its life. I've come to the end of day 1 of my console install project. Brackets have been made up, brackets have been bolted to the transmission tunnel, and the console has been bolted to the brackets. My sheet metal brackets, which I started out with, are over there. Probably could have just stuck with those because they were certainly a lot easier to put bolts through. I ended up going with some 20mm by 3mm bar, and I was hoping for a much more rigid mounting surface, which I've probably gotten. But I snapped off one of the bolts as I put it all together, because you shouldn't use your rugger-dugger on tiny bolts. But it's in. Happy with that result for day 1 of the console project. I'm reasonably satisfied that that location is good. I mean, I could probably slide it a lot further forward, but I've got the auto shifter hump under there somewhere, which is going to interfere with the location of this sooner or later. So the further back it goes, in my opinion, the better it will be for me, as my seat goes right back anyway. Phew, passenger's ashtray. No hump. Hump. No hump.